We do have our Andrew Scheinthal, who is at the scene. Andrew, you've been listening to this along with us. Anything new here? No developments, no big developments, I guess, as far as numbers go.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, I think the biggest thing people can take away from this is that the remaining structure could collapse. I mean, that is essentially what they were talking about today. You know, that column moving, even just 1 inch is a reason for concern, but 6 to 12 inches, that is a huge shift for a building that's barely hanging on. And so that is why they brought this search and rescue operation to a pause. Now, you heard the mayor, she was discussing, said there were no new bodies that were found between last night's news conference and the one that they held just now, and that's likely due in part to the fact that they had to come to a stop because of what's taking place. They also said that this is in the garage, and I think the reason why they were likely able to catch this so soon is because that's one of the areas they've been working. They have been in there monitoring the area. They have scaffolding in there trying to hold up what they can of the structure. They have engineers on site. They're really doing everything they can to make sure that the building doesn't move, that they keep their eyes on the building so that they continue with these operations. You know, I asked the chief as he was walking away, does this mean the entire building could collapse, that entire section there is at risk? And he nodded his head yes, essentially saying that, if this shifts more, would it be a part of the structure? Could it be all the structure? Perhaps they don't know what would come down, but they just can't take that risk. Mayor Cava also speaking at this news conference, providing updates as well. Here's some of what she had to say.
Forced to halt operations on the collapse in the early hours of the morning due to structural concerns about the standing structure. We're doing everything we can to ensure that the safety of our first responders is paramount and to continue our search and rescue operation as soon as it is safe to do so. And our engineers are continuing to monitor the structure as we've paused operations. The only reason for this pause is concerns about the standing structure. We've already informed the families this morning who are waiting and waiting about this development, and we have worked to answer all the questions that they have about the operation. And we will continue to keep the families and all of you informed.
So you could hear right there, the families have been informed about this. I mean, and how heartbreaking that is for them, because for now, for an entire week, they are all together. They are waiting for their loved ones to be found. The process has been very slow going by no fault of the first responders. And now they can't even go in there and search through the debris for anyone who might be there because the remaining part of the structure could collapse. Now, they talked about things that they're going to try to do to prevent this from happening. They did not get into any specifics about that. They just said they have engineers on site. They're going to see what they can do to prevent this from happening or to make the structure stable. But that is still unknown at this time. How they're going to go about doing that, that was not discussed. But in the meantime, the search and rescue operation at the site itself, at the mound, has come to a pause. After 7 days, now 8 days rather, of searching through the debris, they cannot do it anymore. They stopped last night because of that 6 to 12 inch shift of a support column in the garage that moved. The concern there is that if the building collapses, obviously that could hurt, that could injure, that could kill some of the first responders. They do not want to do that. They got them out of the way. And now people are just waiting with bated breath just to see what the next move is going to be. The good news is they made it very clear what's happening at the site is not going to stop, pause, change, shift from the plan just because the president is here. They are able to mitigate these two things, manage the two things. One's not going to impact the other. We do know the president had plans to come to the command center, which is just about a block and a half, 2 blocks from where we are right now, which is just about a block, if not less, from the building itself. I don't know if this is going to impact that. It'll be interesting to see if they want to bring the president here when there's a concern that the structure just isn't safe anymore. So we're going to have to wait and see if there's any changes in the president's plans. But at this time, search and rescue efforts, Ethan and Vanessa, have come to a pause.